So, hi everyone, my name is Sid Sharma. I'm the CEO of a company called Rehuman, and we are in the space of decentralized identity or blockchain identity, and it's also called self-sovereign identity. They are one and the same things. And I have been in blockchain space for about 5-6 years, and I have invested in companies, and finally we decided to start this infrastructure company because one of the things that blockchain and all this is missing is the compliance and the identity layer. Because there's one side, there's anonymity, and then there's other side that we should know who we're dealing with, that innate trust, because MetaMask wallets and those things, they have these public keys and private keys, but you don't know who you're talking to. So that's why we created this digital identity company. And we also have a Rehuman Foundation, which is a nonprofit. It helps out underprivileged kids in Africa, and yeah, right now we are in Africa, and also underrepresented founders in North America. So right now we are investing in companies that are mostly helping any kind of social cause. So we invest like initial pre-seed money, and we go from there. And we also provide them with some kind of technical support because a lot of blockchain is still new, and our team, we've been doing it for quite some time, so we provide those technical resources as well. Reason I'm talking about, should I? So the reason I'm actually talking about while the thing comes on is about NGOs is because we started helping out in Africa about three years ago, and we help out in Tanzania. It's a school, basically when we took over the school and started helping out, there were 200 kids from grade 1 to, I'd say, grade 5. And at the time, there was one classroom, and all these kids, like 200 kids in one classroom, and multiple classes happening. We took over. That's perfect. Thank you. And right now, that same school has grown to 1,500 students, and we provide them with daily meals, critical school infrastructure such as we built classrooms, we built sanitation, water, and one of the key reasons this school grew is not because there were more classrooms, there was actually food. So a lot of people were sending their kids to this school because they were able to eat, and that could be one meal that they were eating. So we provide that on a daily basis. And since then, I was in 2021 in Tanzania again, and over there I stayed for 3 months, worked with United Nations subsidiary to work on an identity project. And yeah, and Rehuman is right now in US, Canada, and Africa. So we are finally, we can say we are a mini global company. So let's talk about current state. So we are living in 21st century, interacting with 19th century institutions. They're based on 15th century practices. And it causes a lot of issues because things are changing. Our needs are changing. And there's a lot of global mess that governments can't fix. And that's why good people like NGOs and nonprofits, they have to step up. And I think I'm a true capitalist, but I do believe that there is a need for conscious capitalism where we have to give back certain portion towards some of these causes like climate change, hunger, poverty, human rights, identity, financial inclusion, and more. And reason I think identity is an issue globally is when you know 1.5 billion people have no form of any identification whatsoever. And these are some of the things we take for granted in North America or Europe that we have it. And women and our children are mostly impacted by this because in certain countries, women they're not allowed basically because of religion or whatever to take pictures. And if they don't have a photo, they can't get ID. And if they can't get ID, they can't access things like driver's licenses. So a man has to drive her all over the place. So basically, identity is a crisis on a global scale. And when these good companies like UNICEF, American Red Cross, or United Way, UNICEF, they go about helping these communities, they run into issue of fundraising. And these are big names. Like they have funding, but they still struggle. So what happens to small NGOs? Like, I mean, small nonprofits. Maybe some of you here have nonprofits. Some people who are asking questions about starting nonprofits as DAOs, right? So fundraising is always an issue, whether you are venture capital, whether you are an entrepreneur or an NGO. And especially as an NGO, you're asking somebody to give you something and they're not getting anything. There's no reward. And you have to educate people about your cost. Costs are related to it. You have to overcome low trust because NGOs, historically, they have reputation of not sending the money that you are sending them, how they manage their funds. So some of these problems are part of the funding process, but they just hinder these NGOs and nonprofits from reaching their goal in an efficient manner. So we have talked about blockchain a lot, but I think blockchain can do a lot good. Most of us know that. And some of the simple things that most of us now probably sick and tired of hearing is it's a single source of truth, tamper-proof records, and it also provides alternate funding. But before I get into it, there are two key things blockchain can do for NGOs and nonprofits. It can help with governance and funding. So not all blockchains are built exactly in the same way. And yesterday, I think I had somebody ask questions about why Bitcoin can't be used for literally everything. It depends whether you're using the Bitcoin blockchain or you're using the Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency. So public blockchains, basically what they mean is anyone can join them. You can fork Bitcoin. You can even join Bitcoin network, and you can start using. There's nobody stopping you. Everybody is exactly on the same level. Whereas permission blockchains, they're not same as private blockchains. Private blockchains are something that's owned by one entity, and that kind of loses its flavor. But permission blockchains, we have been working with Hyperledger Group for past, I would say, 4 or 5 years, and since 2016, so I think, yeah. So Hyperledger is a permission blockchain, and reason it's good for enterprise and NGOs is because not every single thing that you do is public, and you don't want every single thing to be public. So here, how UNICEF is paying their retirees as a pension fund, I don't think that information should be publicly available. So that's why the whole argument about why one thing can't do it all, and I think there's a place for almost everything. So permission blockchains, so right now I have 2, but there are many, Hyperledger and Quorum. Quorum is being incubated by now Ethereum Foundation. So Ethereum is also a public blockchain, and then they have Quorum, which is their private or permission blockchain. There are benefits to permission blockchains, and some of them are better performance. You don't have to worry about the gas or fluctuating cryptocurrencies because some permission blockchains, because you're using for governance, you don't have to have cryptocurrency associated to it. And that's where most people, when they get into the cryptocurrency or blockchain space, they think every single blockchain has something to do with crypto. And I think the lady here said it right. When you talk to your friends, they think you're creating Bitcoins. But it's so many uses that you can do. So this is simply for governance perspective. Cost-effective, privacy-focused, improved governance. And governance is important because nonprofits such as like Red Cross or United Nations, they don't allow you or I to be part of the consortium. Only selected individuals or selected organizations or donors, such as Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation will be part of it, right? Because we are not trustworthy. And plus, when it comes to decision making, public blockchains are kind of like, they slow every single thing down. And I think in the last presentation, the presenter also said that decisions are not made as effectively. Sometimes good things can totally go sideways because everyone has their own agenda. Whereas in permission blockchain, these different entities that are part of the consortium, they have one agenda, which is to, let's say, in this case, United Nations or UNICEF to help out kids or any other entity. Let's go to fundraising. Fundraising is a difficult task, but most what you call nonprofits are right now thinking about raising funds using one of these options. So you can use Bitcoin, or you can use altcoins. That's what they are called because they are in that category. They are alternate coins to Bitcoin. So, and then there are stable coins. Stable coins hold their value against United States dollar. Altcoins, they fluctuate heavily. It depends on the team if you want to invest in those or not, or if you even care about those. But I'll give you examples down the line why some of these could be a benefit to some of the organizations. Also, again, I keep giving United Nations because we have done some work with them. So United Nations is now raising funds using NFTs. And that's actually a really cool option because they can sell their art, and the individuals who buy that, they're funding a good cause. So NFTs can be a force for good and not just CryptoPunks. And I think there's always positive in most of the things that's happening in the space. We just focus on one. So I think by opening up to these possibilities, NGOs can significantly raise their funding requirements. But most nonprofits are not set up to accept these cryptocurrencies. And that's because they don't know how to even highlight the donor benefits. So if, let's say, you are a donor who's donating $5,000. According to IRS, what exactly that's going to be considered for the organization and you as a donor? And those are a lot of questions a lot of people don't know. This is the best information I could find that IRS right now, as of when we made this presentation, was cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin is considered in an asset class such as property. It's not considered currency right now. So, but again, we need to know some of these IRS requirements, and this is upfront work. If, let's say, any of you are thinking about starting a nonprofit or a DAO that's actually helping out some kind of cause, you need to think about some of these things. Most people, they just go and get crypto wallets, just your average simple crypto wallets, whether it's MyEther wallet or Rehuman wallet or you name it. But the problem is they're not built for institutional money. When I say institutional money, it's like when you're raising as a nonprofit, you may need $1 million or $2 million. And then somebody needs to be a custodian. Unless you are totally fine with, let's say, I donated money to GBA, and I'm fine with one person holding all the keys, and if they lose all those keys, and they're just gone. So there needs to be that custodianship, that what happens to money was deposited. So there's you can get institutional digital wallets from Coinbase. I think Kraken is doing it, and a few other companies. You can get institutional wallets, but you have to go through a process, and you have to be set up as a proper structure to accept funding. And this opens up two lanes of funding. One is from millennials, which 74% of the millennials, they are more inclined to give, and they are more crypto savvy right now. Whereas you also open up to bigger investors, your typical investors. And in that case, you can do galas, you can do whatever you want to, but this is a cheaper way to reach more people. But at the same time, you can actually raise a lot of money from anywhere in the world. And there needs to be proper policies on accepting cryptocurrencies, like which ones to accept, which ones not to accept, because they are highly volatile and they can go up and down. So somebody donated you $1 million, tomorrow it could be 15. So it works through simple transfer. Like, I mean, they don't have to go to their bank. They can simply transfer money, including billions of dollars. And I'll give you an example that happened recently. There's low processing cost, depends what you are using. So if you're transferring $1 million on Bitcoin, I mean, that's going to be a massive, massive cost. And if you are going with something like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu or all these things, significantly lower cost. So here are the real world examples. So United Nations, I think I talked about this, the pension fund, they launched their blockchain application in 2021. And they wanted to make sure that all the people who are receiving the pension from United Nations, and they're all over the world, they are still alive. And the normal process would be they will send these letters They have to sign it, send that back, and prove that they're still alive. And sometimes there's compliance issues with that. Well, they launched this application. It's an identity application where individuals, no matter where they are, they verify themselves. And today they have 18,000 members using this application. Another one. Vitalik transferred $1 billion to COVID India Relief Fund last year. And just imagine if anyone had to transfer $1 billion. That wouldn't be an easy thing, but he was able to do it. And then the last thing is, what's next? Next thing is, I've been such a huge advocate of blockchain. Like, I'm involved with so many organizations all over the world. And one thing we have learned that collaboration is the only way we can move forward, especially after COVID. It just opens your eyes that we can't do all the things alone. Especially blockchain in true essence is that you can't just run a company, build a company alone. You have to have some kind of blockchain collaboration with members. And you have to keep an open mind about the technology, if it's moving or not. Oh, do I? See the lines? You don't want to cross over the lines. Oh, okay. Cool. And last thing is, not everything needs decentralization. I hear all this, but I think we need to know that not everything needs to be decentralized. There's multiple ways to do the same thing using blockchain. Explore, get involved, but I think don't get confrontational. I see a lot of conversations. Everyone seems to be knowing what they're talking about, but I think it's fine. Respect other people. There's a lot of projects, a lot of cool projects. I mean, we built this project 2 years ago, and right now it's with 3 companies. But sometimes when I talk to people, they also question. So I think the whole thing is respect everybody, because nobody really knows this space, no matter how long you've been there. And there's actually always time for newcomers and new brains. So just come and accept everyone. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself. And thank you. Thanks a lot.